The weight of silence. It started with something small, a nagging feeling I couldn't quite put my finger on. After 19 years of marriage, you think you know every quirk, every tick, every unspoken cue your partner gives off. But one day it hit me like a punch in the gut. Something was off. It wasn't just one thing. It was everything. Little things really. Like how she'd answer her phone when I walked into the room, and then quickly hang up without explanation. Or how she'd suddenly become too busy to talk at night after dinner, claiming she had work emails to catch up on. At first, I brushed it off as stress or exhaustion. We were both getting older, right? Maybe this was just life catching up to us. But then there were the bigger signs. The ones that gnawed at me even when I tried to ignore them. She stopped asking about my day altogether. Her laugh grew distant whenever we watched TV together. And worst of all, our Friday nights out, our sacred tradition since before we got married, just disappeared without warning. When I asked why, she said she didn't feel like going anymore. That's when the cracks began to show. A conversation gone wrong. I knew I needed answers. So one evening, after putting the kids to bed, I sat her down at the kitchen table. My heart raced as I prepared myself for whatever might come next. "What's going on?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "You've been acting different lately." She looked up from her coffee mug, her eyes darting around the room like she was searching for an escape route. "I don't know what you're talking about," she replied, her tone clipped and defensive. "Come on, Sarah," I pressed, leaning forward. "Something's bothering you. You can tell me." For a moment, I thought I saw guilt flash across her face, but it vanished so fast I wondered if I imagined it. "Nothing's wrong," she insisted. "You're overthinking things again." That night, I tossed and turned in bed, replaying the conversation over and over in my mind. Overthinking? Was that really true? Or was she hiding something? The grocery store encounter. The breaking point came a week later at the local grocery store. I'd gone to pick up some milk and bread during lunchtime, hoping to get in and out quickly. As I rounded the corner toward the produce section, I froze. There she was, Sarah, standing next to a man I'd never seen before. They weren't just chatting. They were laughing, their faces inches apart. He rested his hand casually on her lower back, and she didn't flinch. Time seemed to stop. My stomach churned, and my hands trembled as I clutched the shopping cart. I wanted to turn around and leave, but my feet wouldn't move. Instead, I stood there, invisible, watching as they exchanged numbers right in front of me. When she finally noticed me, her expression changed instantly, from happiness to panic. "Oh, hey, honey," she called out, forcing a smile. "What are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing." I shot back, my voice colder than I intended. Her cheeks flushed red, but instead of explaining, she stammered something about needing to run errands and hurried away, leaving me alone in the aisle with a cart full of groceries and a head spinning with questions. Pieces of the puzzle. Back home, I couldn't shake the image of her with that man. Determined to find answers, I searched through her purse while she was out running errands. Inside, I found receipts from places I'd never heard of, along with the receipt from a boutique hotel dated 2 days earlier. My chest tightened as I realized what it meant. Then came the digital evidence. On her phone, tucked away in a hidden folder, I discovered photos of them together, smiling, carefree, completely oblivious to the wreckage they were causing. There were messages, too, filled with words I'd never expected to see addressed to anyone but me. Words like darling and forever dash. Each message felt like another stab to the heart. By the time she returned home, I already knew the truth. Still, I confronted her, laying out the evidence piece by painful piece. At first, she denied it, calling me paranoid and accusing me of invading her privacy. But eventually, the weight of the proof became too much. She admitted it. She'd been seeing him for months, sneaking around behind my back while I trusted her completely. Emotional turmoil. In the days that followed, I spiraled. Anger consumed me, bubbling up whenever I thought about her betrayal. How could she do this to me? To us? To our family? But anger only scratched the surface. Beneath it lay hurt, confusion, and self-doubt. Had I done something wrong? Was I not enough for her anymore? These thoughts haunted me day and night, making it hard to eat, sleep, or focus on anything else. Our once strong bond now felt shattered beyond repair. Every memory we shared, our wedding day, the birth of our children, countless vacations and milestones, seemed tainted by her lies. Even walking through our house felt suffocating, each room reminding me of happier times that now felt like a cruel joke. The marriage we once had. Before all this happened, ours was a solid relationship built on mutual respect and love. We met in college, where we bonded over late-night study sessions and shared dreams of building a life together. Over the years, we raised 2 beautiful kids, traveled to Europe twice, and celebrated more anniversaries than I can count. Sure, we argued sometimes, but those moments always ended with hugs and promises to do better. We had our quirks, sure. She loved baking while I preferred tinkering with gadgets. She dragged me to yoga classes and I convinced her to watch football games. But despite our differences, we complemented each other perfectly. Or so I thought. Now looking back, I wonder if I missed the warning signs. Did I take her for granted? Was I too focused on work or parenting to notice her unhappiness brewing beneath the surface? These questions kept me awake at night, torturing me with possibilities I couldn't undo. Life after betrayal. As the reality set in, practical concerns began to pile up. Financially, we were intertwined in ways I hadn't fully appreciated until now. Joint bank accounts, mortgages, retirement plans, all of it would need sorting out if we decided to part ways. Meanwhile, her health issues added another layer of complexity. Diagnosed with early-stage diabetes last year, she required regular checkups and medication. Could I abandon her knowing she might struggle without me? Or should I stay out of obligation, sacrificing my own happiness in the process? Our daily routine shifted dramatically. Conversations grew sparse, replaced by awkward silences and tense glances. Meals were eaten separately, and bedtime became a lonely affair. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, I found myself sleeping on the couch, unable to bear the thought of sharing a bed with someone who no longer belonged to me. Mentally, I teetered on the edge. Anxiety crept into my waking hours, and depression lingered like a shadow. Friends encouraged me to seek therapy, which I resisted at first. Admitting defeat felt like admitting failure, not just in my marriage but in myself. Eventually, though, I relented, booking an appointment with a counselor who specialized in relationships. Talking through my feelings helped, giving me space to grieve and process the loss of the life I once knew. Another story of pain. Around this time, I joined an online support group for people dealing with infidelity. There I met Jake, a man whose story mirrored mine in many ways. His wife had cheated on him with a coworker, and the betrayal played out publicly when the affair became office gossip. Humiliated and betrayed, Jake struggled to rebuild his self-worth amidst the judgmental stares of colleagues and friends. Listening to his experiences resonated deeply with me. Here was someone who understood the depth of pain I was feeling, someone who could offer advice without minimizing my struggles. Through our conversations, I learned that healing wasn't linear. Some days, progress felt impossible. Other days, I woke up feeling lighter, more hopeful. Jake reminded me that recovery takes time and patience. Rebuilding myself. Slowly, I began taking steps to reclaim my life. Therapy proved invaluable, teaching me coping mechanisms and helping me confront lingering doubts. Exercise became my outlet, allowing me to release pent-up frustration while improving my physical health. Running especially became a sanctuary, giving me time to reflect and clear my mind. New friendships blossomed unexpectedly. A neighbor invited me to join a book club, introducing me to a community of kind, supportive individuals who welcomed me with open arms. Their stories of resilience inspired me to keep moving forward, even when it felt hardest. Eventually, I started dating again, cautiously dipping my toes back into the world of relationships. It wasn't easy and trust remained a challenge, but meeting someone new gave me hope for the future. This person wasn't perfect, but neither was I. Together, we navigated the complexities of love post-betrayal, learning to communicate openly and honestly. Reflections and gratitude. Looking back, I realize how far I've come since that fateful day at the grocery store. What initially felt like the end of the world turned into an opportunity for growth. Yes, I lost parts of myself during those dark months, but I also discovered strengths I never knew I possessed. Resilience, courage, empathy. Most importantly, I learned the value of community. Without the support of friends, family, and strangers turned allies, I doubt I'd have made it through. Their kindness reminded me that I'm not alone, that others have faced similar challenges and emerged stronger because of them. Today, I carry the scars of betrayal, but they no longer define me. Instead, they serve as reminders of how far I've come and how much farther I still want to go. Life may never return to the way it was before, but maybe that's okay. Maybe in its imperfection, it holds promise for something even better.